The following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Let me say something else, too, about Mo Patton. Mo has done it all. I mean, he's covered the Titans. He's covered the Vols. He's done high school. He's a fantastic writer. He's now actually hosting a talk show every day in Columbia that is outstanding.
It just never felt like at any point in this season or in the last three seasons that this team ever got – the pressure never really got to them.
Well –
I think we're getting ready for a revelation here.
Maybe so, because I mean, we just never saw it.
Good. That's good.
It is an expectation now, Malik, that we play for championships, that we compete for championships. And I think that's a good thing. You know, winning it kind of let us know, listen, we can do this. We're not just talking. This is something that we can do, and we will build it.
I'm not necessarily against the idea of the SEC versus the field in a national championship game. We'll just play the SEC as it is, and then you guys give us a team and
match us up, and we'll see what happens.
Good luck. I mean,
From preps to pros and everything in between, it's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Young.
Welcome in, Southern Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee. I want to join Chris Young, Mo Patton, and, of course,
Andrew Moore in the house. It's Friday, which means Andrew's going to be here. Missed you last week, Andrew, but glad that you are going to be able to hang out with us. I know you know, Chattanooga's a little far to travel.
It's a little too far for me.
I can understand. You got other things you got to do. So
that is true.
It's all good, man. Well, welcome in. It is a Friday edition, and we are excited to be here as always. We have a fantastic show for you today, as we always do. Nick Campbell, Columbia Central boys basketball coach, joins us ahead of his game tonight with Lawrence County.
Oh, his alma mater, by the way.
Mountain Juliet football coach Trey Perry is going to join us. He coached in the East-West All-Star game last night. We'll hear from John Olive, and we'll react to that as well. We'll talk Titans. We've got a lot of top stories to get to, a ton of top stories. Matter of fact, I don't know that we're going to get to all of these.
We probably
I don't know how we're going to get to all of them. So what we need to do is get to them quickly. Before we do that, let's give them the rundown.
This is the Rundown. The Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb & Associates. The voice of the Blue Raiders also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip 615-542-1915 or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters, proud to support local youth sports in Southern Middle Tennessee.
In girls basketball action on Thursday night, Fairview hit a late three-pointer to knock off Spring Hill 46-43. In the boys game, it was Fairview 61, Spring Hill 49. High school wrestling action on Thursday. Eagle defeated Spring Hill 48-28. It was Columbia Central picking up a pair of wins. 30-18 over Cornersville and 42-12 over host Marshall County. Independence went on the road and took a 67-9 loss at Blackman.
In high school football action, as we mentioned in that East-West All-Star game, the East just absolutely destroyed the West, 31-3. In NHL action last night, the Islanders remain winless at home. They go down 4-3 to Nashville. In NFL action, the Steelers tried late failed. Vikings 36, Steelers 28, and the Grizzlies with a 108-95 win over the Lakers.
Tonight's high school basketball action. Loretto hosts Collinwood. As we mentioned, Columbia Central travels to Lawrence County. Summertown hosts Season, and Culleoka hosts Fayetteville.
It's Hampshire at Zion Christian Independence traveling to Page. Santa Fe goes to Mount Pleasant, and Summit travels to Rockville.
Boys only.
And boys only, you're right.
High school wrestling tonight. Spring Hill, a long road trip. They are in the tournament action at the Indian Classic in Kingsport. Also, NHL action tonight. The Preds are at New Jersey. That's a 6:30 puck drop on ESPN Plus. NCAA men's basketball action. Loyola Chicago is at Vanderbilt. Not sure if Sister Jean is with them or not. That's a 7 o'clock start at Memorial Gym on ESPN Plus as well.
Also in Saturday, high school basketball. Columbia Academy is at University School of Nashville at 3:30. Page is at Columbia Central, and Santa Fe hosts East Robertson. In wrestling action, it's Spring Hill still at that Kingsport tournament, and Summit travels. They take a pretty decent trip, too, to Cleveland for the Cleveland Duels.
College football action on Saturday. The Army-Navy game is at 2 o'clock. That game is on CBS. And the Heisman ceremony is scheduled for 7 o'clock on ESPN, and it will be an in-person affair this time after last year's Zoom deal. NCAA men's basketball action. North Carolina Greensboro plays at Tennessee at 3:30 Saturday. That game will be shown on the SEC network, and I presume it will be on 103.7 WKRM. MTSU goes to UT Martin for an 8 o'clock matchup. That game will be shown on ESPN Plus. Also, Houston plays at Coleman Coliseum against the Crimson Tide. That game will air on 101.7 WKOM beginning at
9 o'clock Central.
9 o'clock Central.
I think they have a 2-hour pregame, so you can catch it at 7.
That's 9 o'clock p.m.
Yeah.
Take you a nap. Also, NBA action. Speaking of Houston, the Rockets are at Memphis. That's a 7 o'clock start. Saturday.
There you go. Sunday, you have the Jaguars at the Titans. It's 12 noon on CBS. NHL action. The Preds are at the Rangers. It's a 6 p.m. puck drop on Valley. And Georgia State travels to the Lady Vols. Thompson Bowling Arena at 1 o'clock Central. That's on SEC Network. Plus the number 9 Lady Vols hosting Georgia State on Sunday. There you go. That's it for the rundown. Ooh. Worked up a sweat like I was being run down. I've never seen you ever seen a scorekeeper sweat? That's what I felt like. Tons of top stories, Mo. Some breaking news here on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports today, as Columbia Central finally has its softball coach.
Columbia Central finally has a softball coach. And he is former Zion Christian baseball coach, John McDonald, which means Columbia Central has a softball coach. Zion Christian does not have a baseball coach. There you go. Yeah. Interesting. McDonald will become the fourth softball coach in 4 seasons at Columbia Central.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal at all. And he becomes the fourth softball coach on December 10th.
Even less ideal.
But there's a lot of, is it unideal? Would that be, is that a word? Or just not ideal? There's a lot of not idealness to this situation. And I'm just going to tell you, the next softball game that John McDonald coaches will be his first.
And he has no idea what he's walking into as far as players, skill level, talent,
schedule.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a struggle.
I mean, OJT, I guess, on the job training, but you know, Columbia Central has got some talent. They've got one of the top 2024 recruits in the country, and Savia Morgan in the country. And this. I mean, again, December 10th is when this hire was made. This is a stopgap move. This is we got to get a coach.
And this guy was on our football staff and
it's in the building
and has some experience on a diamond
with a bat and a ball.
Yeah, and a glove. It is what it is.
It'll be interesting to see how this goes.
Listen, softball's not easy. It's a different game.
It is absolutely a different game. And it's not, well, I coach baseball, so I can coach softball. No.
It
sounds good.
I'll be interested to see, who he's able to put around that team. So
yeah,
he's going to need somebody.
To his credit, I think he knows that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a little bravado there that I'm turned off by.
I'm not sure what else was you going to do? That's the unfortunate thing. I mean, Kevin Edey was left with no choice. I mean, what else was he going to do? That's the unfortunate part.
Yeah, it is. It is because mistakes were made.
Lessons were learned.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
Maybe not.
Yeah. Anyway,
other top stories: Auburn basketball hit relatively lightly, compared to some other NCAA sanctions, especially in hoops. But I thought fairly, the NCAA docked them a scholarship and suspended Bruce Pearl for 2 games. This comes after last year's postseason ban, and I think they sat some players for a season as well last year. So
I think in and of itself, Auburn's punishment is probably fair. But when you look at what has happened with other programs, Stillwater, Oklahoma, for instance,
relatively light but fair. If we're talking about in this tunnel, it's fair. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but
it's fair to Auburn, not to the rest of the NCAA.
It's fair to Auburn, but not. It's tough when the punishments are not so even-handed across the board.
You're not telling me anything I don't know.
And some people get their hands slapped and some get their teeth knocked out,
And Will Wade's still coaching. That's all I'm saying.
Chuck Person did get a 10-year show cause.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was planning on coaching again anyway.
No.
So.
Couple of things, got about 2.5 minutes. Army Navy is this weekend. We may talk a little bit later about that. Some coaching moves.
Tony Elliott finally leaves Clemson. 11 years on the staff, the last 7 as offensive coordinator, has named earlier this afternoon as the successor to Bronco Mendenhall at UVA. I'm interested to see how that goes.
We'll see.
He certainly knows the ACC.
That's an offense, apparently.
But
I mean, as we've seen, he's not had a great offense without a great quarterback. So he's got to find a great quarterback. Not a good quarterback, a great quarterback. Because every good quarterback they've had, they've not been very good. They got to be great. They got to be Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, etc. Who was the guy before Deshaun? The guy that
Kelly Bryant.
Yeah. I mean, they got to have a great one. Jason Garrett going to Duke?
He seems to be the front runner.
Is he going to take some of his former staff mates with him?
His former from the Giants?
Yeah.
He's got pretty much a college staff at his disposal up there, doesn't he?
Pruitt, Dooley?
Yeah. Joe Judge gets fired.
He's going to get fired.
Yeah.
No?
That just sounds gross.
It's weird, right?
Well, what sounds gross about it is that Jason Garrett has no college coaching experience.
Which is why you've got to put some guys around you who know what they're doing. So which means not hiring Pruitt and Dooley, but
there you go. Know what they're doing. Not just we're there. Yeah.
And finally, Walt Bell, former Dixon County and MTSU standout.
Yeah, a month ago, he was dismissed at UMass after going 2-23 over parts of 3 seasons.
UMass, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now he's the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Indiana with Tom Allen.
Good.
Who needs some help.
He needs a little help, and I think Walter will do fine there. So when we come back, we will have Andrew join us for the segment to talk Titans. Zach Cunningham headed back to Nashville. So stick around.
But don't ask about it.
Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Day returns after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
From the Blue Raiders to the two-tone blue, covering the teams you care about. It's only on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back to Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Getting ready to talk some Titans because one of my favorite people, athletes, people of all time, Zach Cunningham, headed back to the Music City, and he will be suiting up for the Titans hopefully as soon as next week. He's not even allowed in the building until Tuesday due to COVID protocols, which is apparently one of the reasons that he was let go from Houston. He was late for a COVID test. Is that what you read or heard?
Specifically, I'm not sure. I do know there was some turmoil inside.
No, turmoil in Houston.
I do find this hard.
Doesn't really sound right. But,
Never heard of it.
It's a big time pickup. He's somebody I wanted back in 2022 when he was in the draft.
Yeah.
Why would you not?
Exactly. I mean, we got Jayon Brown out of that draft, so not too bad. But just to see,
not the leading tackle in the NFL.
No. But just to see Cunningham come back to Nashville after being a standout in Vanderbilt, being one of the best inside linebackers in the league the last couple of years, absolute tackling machine. I mean, just attacks every time. It's huge, especially with the injuries that we've had at linebacker. David Long has already been ruled out for Sunday's game. Rashawn Evans is slowly making his way back to practice. Jayon Brown, never know when he's going to get hurt. Monty Rice, I think, is done for the year after that Patriots game. So, I mean, it's not. You don't see it very often, like a player of that caliber that you can add onto your roster.
Especially
week 14,
falling to you in waivers when you are so far down the list.
which just blows my mind. I mean, me and my friend were texting me, what if, and all these scenarios and dreams that we were talking about, and just a couple hours later, you get on Twitter and Zach Cunningham falls all the way down to us.
Do you think his contract, specifically his 2022 contract, played a role in him falling?
I can tell you no, just based on this John Cunningham tweet. Based on this tweet, Zach Cunningham is only under contract for 3 more years, but next season is the only guaranteed, and it's for injury. So if the Titans cut him for performance and not injury at the end of this season, they don't have to pay him anything.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, would that have impacted other teams' decision whether or not to pull the trigger on him?
I mean, if you need a linebacker for $275,000, I don't know why you don't take him. Because you can
nobody else between Detroit and the Titans needed a linebacker.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's
unless it's an OBJ type situation where they called his agent, and the agent said he's not going to show up. The only place he wants to go is Nashville.
I mean, he wants to play with Vrabel again. I mean, he's made that clear.
So, I mean, it's possible that's what happened. Is the only place he was going was Nashville.
Sounds very NBA-ish.
And what kind of blows my – I might have read this wrong on Twitter, but David Coley, the head coach in Houston, if I read it correctly, I think it said that it wasn't a hard decision to let him go.
No, he said it wasn't at all.
Lie again. That just doesn't seem right.
David Culley, for all the positives, he's talking a lot of trash about this guy, and essentially he's doing it because it has. I don't think any of it has to do with the Culley Cunningham relationship, but Zach Cunningham hasn't been happy.
I think it's got to. I think David Culley is kind of carrying the Texans front office's water on this deal, and part of it is in I finally got to be a head coach. Damn if I'm gonna piss these folks off.
Exactly.
So
sometimes you gotta just toe the company line.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening here.
Which is tough.
It's tough to hear.
Just add him to the list of everybody else that wants out of Houston right now, which again, I'm completely fine with.
Sure.
I am absolutely fine with that. But yeah, adding him is huge, especially this late in the season, because I mean I have a picture right here of the potential defense going into the playoffs right now. We got on the front, you got Bud Dupree, Jeff Simmons, Danico Autry, Harold Landry, Taylor Tart, Ola Adaney. In the middle, you have David Long, you have Rashawn Evans, you have Jayon Brown, you have Zach Cunningham. On the back end, you have Kevin Byard, Amani Hooker, Christian Fulton, Janoris Jenkins, Elijah Molden, Chris Jackson.
That's Jackrabbit Jenkins to you.
Yeah. But when he starts playing better, I'll call him Jackrabbit.
Call him what he wants.
So,
because Mama called him Janoris, I'm gonna call him Janoris. Yeah.
But I mean that's huge, especially with 5 weeks left in the season. Pittsburgh might be our hardest game left on the schedule, but with TJ Watt,
if last night is any indication,
yeah, no.
So these players, as bad, it's been a roller coaster this year. I mean, I was thankful for the bye week. To get people healthy, but also to kind of calm my nerves down. I needed a week-long break, which I was happy to get. But just it's never fun to see your team go down the way that this team has gone down this year. But with all these injuries kind of happening earlier in the year to some of these players, getting them back now, 5 games left heading into the playoffs, I mean, is huge.
It looks
for everything that has taken place, you're still talking about an 8-4 team.
Yep.
8-4.
What are they? The number 2 seed right now?
Number 2 seed. Yep. And
could have been number 1 if Buffalo had done their job.
Well, and here's the worst part is now we're rooting for the Colts. Because it's the toughest game left on the Patriots schedule. We need the Colts to win.
Mm-hmm. You can't make me.
I know. But it's we're not rooting for the Colts. We're rooting against the Patriots. I wonder if they tie, they could tie, and we would jump them. So a tie would work.
Yeah,
I can take a tie.
I like that.
That would work.
Captain Chaos.
That would be very weird. The injury report for this weekend, Tommy Hudson, tight end. Who is he?
Who?
He's somebody that he's been on the practice squads and the preseason squads that this team really, really likes, but can't seem to stay healthy. Clearly. Unfortunately.
Jackrabbit Jenkins is out, hasn't practiced all week. David
Norris.
David Long is out, hasn't practiced all week. Elijah Molden, who did not practice Wednesday, was limited on Thursday, went full participation yesterday and will be playing in the defensive backfield. That's huge. Yep. Tyler Tart is out, and that is it. So,
I mean, that's 4. I think was that 4?
Yes.
I'm so used to counting to about 24.
Right. Exactly.
Wait a minute. You're done.
I mean, Landry.
Flip the page.
Landry was on limited participation in the hamstring, so he's questionable.
He's been playing banged up the last couple of weeks.
Autry was in full participation on Friday. Oladini has been practicing all week. Jayon Brown all week. Nate Davis all week. Rashawn Evans all week. I mean, it looks like this Titans injury report is starting to finally shrink a little.
Julio Jones on the
Julio's back,
designated to return. I mean, we have that 21-day window to activate him.
Right.
But I mean, if he's practicing already, you would like to think maybe not Sunday, but the last 4 games of the season, he's going to be there for the push. Dane Cruikshank coming back. Chris Jackson coming back. There was somebody else that I think I'm missing. Anyways, I mean, just even those 3 players, having them on the designated to return list is big.
It really is.
Jeremy McNichols, I think he was the one that I forgot.
That's right.
Having him back will be great.
Potentially. I mean, right now, this running back situation that we've got it's not bad considering.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as good as it could be.
You take away 2 plays from that Patriots game with Hilliard and Foreman, just 2 plays.
Sorry, random picture on Twitter of Dabo with the Will Smith and no furniture room. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Back to the Titans.
And then there's been the rumors the last several weeks that I've kind of been ignoring that Derrick Henry might be back pretty early. But now you're starting to really hear it that he might be on that closer to that 6-week time frame than the 10-week time frame for his return. So there is a possibility you might see Derrick Henry before the playoffs.
I hope so.
Who is also still number 3 in the league in rushing and hasn't played since Halloween. But
Jonathan Taylor is going to be your MVP this year.
Yeah, if Derrick Henry can't even get but like 2 or 3 votes after the season he had last year, there's no way. I'm gonna be super annoyed if that happens.
You and me both.
Good player. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love to hate on Colts players and Colts teams and fans, but I mean, he's a good player.
He is good.
But there's no way.
I'd still take our guy.
I would too. I mean, it took Derrick Henry being out 5 weeks for him to take over the league in rushing. So, because we play Jacksonville on Sunday. I think that's a good way to come back off the bye. A divisional opponent that you really want to beat, a team that you don't really like, the team that you've kind of had their number, and a team right now that doesn't have any confidence, I don't think, in what they're doing in Jacksonville.
They certainly don't have any confidence in the guy leading them.
And I mean, it's just a mess.
Let me make this a question rather than a statement. Are y'all surprised he's still there?
No. I mean, I certainly think there would have been very little upset fans, very few upset fans if he were to have been fired mid-season, but it's his first year.
Urban Meyer, right?
Yes.
I figured his heart would have already given out by now.
I'm surprised that he hasn't quit. I'm not surprised he hasn't been fired.
I still don't see that being more than a 2 or 3 year.
If he makes it 3 years, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, I think I will be too.
Which here's the thing is Jacksonville's bad. I mean, they're just bad.
Even with the quarterback, and it's almost like they've dragged Trevor Lawrence down
into this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what they did. They took a guy who
never lost,
who could have been a very good pro quarterback and put him in a situation that he can't win. And so that's unfortunate for him, but not for us. And I'm really
that's unfortunate. You want to see a player like that who seems like he's
sure.
a good person do really well. But
hey,
if you're going to play in Jacksonville, then I mean, I hope he loses the rest of his career. It helps. It helps my emotions. It helps the team that I root for.
There you go.
With just Jacksonville being Jacksonville for the last 25 years, and Houston starting to crumble again.
Sometimes pro quarterbacks get put into bad situations. Yeah. Sometimes those quarterbacks are part of the bad situation. Chris Sims seems to think that Tua Tagovailoa is the latter of those two. And has claimed Taysom Hill is a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa. Now, I don't know if he happened to watch Thursday Night Football last week, but
when Taysom was completing as many to the other guys as he was to his guys,
exactly.
What he probably should have said to make it a more accurate statement is Taysom Hill is potentially a better all-around athlete than Tua, but in terms of just being a quarterback, I'm not the biggest Tua fan, but I'm still taking Tua to lead my team over Taysom Hill at the quarterback position solely.
The Dolphins have won 5 games in a row during which Tagovailoa has appeared to show marked improvement, according to the New York Post. In that stretch, he has 5 touchdown passes to 1 interception. Meanwhile, back in New Orleans, Hill threw what, 4 last Thursday night?
4 picks.
4, yep.
I mean, protecting the football, where does that rank in terms of importance for a quarterback?
I mean, I'm not saying Tua is a game manager. I also, look, I'm going to tell you, I didn't think, based on what I saw in Tua's junior and senior, or his last 2 seasons at Alabama, I didn't think he was that great. I thought he was a fair to average quarterback at the pro level. That's what he is. But a fair to average quarterback at the pro level is still pretty good because there's a lot of bad ones.
And who would have thought that Mac Jones out of the 3 might be the best one going forward?
We'll see.
He looks pretty good right now.
I think that Mac Jones has potential.
I think he does too.
Yep. But I also said he was the best quarterback in the draft last year, but that's neither here nor there.
Demaryius Thomas died last night at the age of 33 after 10 seasons in the NFL, 5 Pro Bowl appearances. Gone too soon.
No doubt. I mean, that's a guy who's played at every, at the highest level, man. That's unfortunate. I hate to hear that. Let's talk to Nick Campbell on the other side of the break. Columbia Central boys basketball coach joins us right after this. Stick around.
Thank you. I wanted to give a little extra time for that.
Yeah, I was just going to 30 when you said 30.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Hey, stop screening my call. All right, hey, we're in a break. Stand by. We'll get you in just a moment.
Local sports talk you'll only find here. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Friday edition, coming to you from the Lee Company studio, and the weekend on the horizon. High school hoops tonight. Got a pretty big schedule, as we gave you the rundown earlier. Pretty solid schedule for the weekend of sports, even if college football is not part of it. Some really good college hoops to watch as well. Or start your weekend tonight at a very intense basketball game, I have to imagine, as Columbia Central Lions, boys and girls, travel south on 43 to former 8 AAA region rival, district rival, whatever. It's all the same to me. I guess region is 2 districts, right? I still haven't figured that out. Anyway, 8 AAA rivals no longer. Mo, are you sad? JP's sad.
It's a little sad.
It's different.
It's definitely different. You know, this is the cost of progress.
I think as long as they still play each other, it will feel the same until you get to the tournament.
Mo said progress. That's arguable among some folks, but that's neither here nor there. I'm excited to talk to our next guest, Columbia Central boys head coach Nick Campbell joins us. Coach, how are you? How you feeling?
What's up, fellas? Appreciate y'all having me. I'm actually walking out of Zaxby's with the pregame meal for the guys.
So you're feeling good? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my vehicle's going to smell like Zaxby's for 3 days.
God, don't you hate that?
That's not the worst thing.
Well, it is when you live in Pulaski. There's no Zaxby's to eat.
Oof, that's brutal.
There's that. Okay. All right.
I'm excited about the game tonight. You know, it's always fun to go to Lawrence County and play. I'm assuming they're going to have a big crowd, huge student section, and everybody will be ready to play tonight.
What's it going to be like for you looking down at the Lawrence County bench and not seeing Shane Clark?
I was actually telling some of the guys yesterday at practice, and they're like, "Oh, so your brother doesn't coach down there anymore?" I said, "No, he doesn't." So it's gonna be different, you know, because Shane Clark is Lawrence County boys basketball. You know, when you think of him, you think of Lawrence County boys basketball. When you think of Lawrence County boys basketball, you think Shane Clark. So you know, it is going to be different for me. You know, I played for him, played in him. It'll take some time to get used to. But I'm really not going to be too worried about looking down there at their bench. I'm going to be in tune with the game and seeing what kind of game plan adjustments we need to make to win the game tonight.
I went up to Clarksville last night for the East-West All-Star Classic, and after the game, I spoke to Q and asked him if he was going to play tonight, and he said it would be a game time decision. Now, I know it's not game time, but has a decision been made yet?
No, honestly, I hadn't seen Q today because we were testing, and then we actually just finished hosting a Columbia State basketball game today. So I think he came in a little late. He got back home late, but I haven't talked to him. Not sure if he's going to play, to be honest with you. I would hope that he would. He makes us a lot better when he plays. But, we went over to Marshallville tonight and played without him and played really well. So, I don't know how banged up he is because I know he hadn't had football practice in a few weeks, and they went pretty hard at it for a few 4 or 5 days, 3 days. So I'm gonna leave it up to him and see what he says. But I definitely, if he plays, it's going to be very limited.
And I guess you were planning on being without him since that game was supposed to have been tonight anyway. So certainly you'd rather have him, but it's not like you were shocked if he doesn't play.
Yeah, and I was not upset when he texted and said the game got moved to Thursday.
I bet you weren't.
Yeah, that did not bother me at all. So, but no, we went over to Marshall and had kids play really well. Bubba Perkins had 20 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, he flirted with triple double, which is pretty impressive.
And knocked down a three. He had a 3-pointer among those 20, did he not?
He had 2, I believe. Yeah. I've been trying to get him to. He shoots the ball so well, but now he can get to the rim, he can drive it. So I'm trying to get him back to the catch and shoot because he shoots it really well when he has confidence. So.
Nick, what do you like best about this team? The experience that you guys got last year has to be, big for this particular team. So what do you like best about your guys this year?
And I just like our senior leadership. You can say all that about game experience, but they didn't play a whole lot besides Q their sophomore year, and that was kind of challenging for them. But it also built a lot of character, and that's why I think we had such a good year last year because they did have some struggles through the course of their high school career already, and it made them that much more. It made them more hungry to play. And now that they got a little taste of winning last year, I think that's really helped us out. But I like our depth of our team. Some games we only play 7, 8, but we could also go like the first game against Rossview. We played about 12 or 13 kids. So I like our depth, but I really like our senior leadership and how they compete every day in practice. But I've always heard the saying when players police themselves, or you got a senior class that polices the younger kids. That's when you can kind of step back and have some fun with them. But if those younger kids aren't practicing hard, it's easy for me to say, well, hey, I got Q Martin over here diving on the floor, or Amari Franklin's taking the charge in practice. Bubba Perkins, diving for a loose ball as well. So our practices are very competitive, and that's a direct result of the senior class.
Offensively, Nick, I would imagine you got to love it when you have 6 guys scoring. Each of them hits at least 1 3. You hit 12 3-pointers in that 74-58 win over at Marshall County. I mean, do you feel like 3-point shooting is a strength for you guys?
It better be, because I let them shoot it. I mean, we're probably averaging 25 attempts, 25 to 30 attempts a game. But in those 35 attempts, we're averaging somewhere around 11 or 12 offensive rebounds a game too. But Amari Franklin is really shooting the lights out to start the season. I tell you who else is starting to come along as far as their shooting wise is Ronnie Bailey. But Ronnie's more of a pass first guy. He tries to get to the rim, but catch and shoot threes, he's pretty deadly too. But really anybody in the starting lineup. And then we got Malachi Horton coming off the bench. We got a few more guys that can shoot it too. So it kind of makes us tougher to guard. If Amari's has hit 2 or 3 threes, it gives everybody else some driving lanes to get a one-on-one to the basket. But we can shoot it really well. That's kind of been the MO on Columbia Central over the past, that they have athletes and guys that can handle the ball and get to the rim, but not necessarily great overall shooters. But we shoot the ball really well as a team. I think we're shooting like 43% from three right now for the season.
Coach, when we talked to, or I say when Mo talked to their first-year coach, Joseph Wilson, to start the season, he indicated that he felt like his team was pretty deep. And if you look at their box scores, that certainly seems to be the case. They have a lot of guys who end up getting in the box scores. Is, your team kind of 6 or 7 guys. How do you feel like that impacts this game overall?
Well, from the games that I've seen, people that I've talked to, they try to play an up and down pace. This is their first year doing that. This is year 4, 3 for us, so we're used to playing at this pace. We kind of pick and choose where we want to full court man, full court trap, stuff like that. So, if they want to play up and down, we're more than welcome to play that. But we're also, expecting them to drop back in a 2-3 zone. I feel like they're going to try to slow it down a little bit. But, we're trying to get to the point in our program to where we can win a game in the 80s, or like when we went to Centennial and won in the 50s. I think this team that we have this year can kind of play it at many different styles. If somebody wants to slow it down, grind it out, I think we can play that way. And if somebody wants to run, we can surely run as well. So, as far as them playing 13, 14 people, we can play just as many, or we can play 7 or 8. It's just kind of the flow of the game.
Speaking with Columbia Central boys basketball coach Nick Campbell here on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Nick, you mentioned that Centennial game where you played a game in the 50s and kind of ran some clock late. The emphasis on that, how much did that have to do with some shortcomings that showed up last year along those lines?
Yeah, we've made an emphasis on late game, taking care of the ball, getting layups, not necessarily shooting the 3 ball and trying to go for the dagger. But we've also shot free throws really, really well this year. We're shooting at like a 78% for the team, which is, I'll take that per game, not necessarily for the season. So we kind of revamped our late game situation stuff as far as, who's handling the ball, who's where on certain situations. So, all these games that we've had pretty early, I thought we've been very, very, very good at handling late games, close games. We've had a tough schedule so far, and I thought our guys have really responded well to that. So I think that's only going to help us more down the stretch.
JP had a question. Mo.
Hey, Nick, JP here.
Like,
by the way,
know your voice.
Just just in case I don't see you, but looking forward to seeing you and your team tonight. But I got one question. Have you called ahead to the administration in Lawrence County to make sure that they pull out one of the bleachers in the upper landing for the Nick Campbell fan club tonight?
I have not.
No?
I think that's going to be right behind the bench. I'm not sure they're going to go all the way up to the top level.
It's a big fan club, Nick. Come on now.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm not sure how many people are going to be in there besides my family members. But there will be. I'm assuming there's going to be a good crowd. I've fielded probably 25 to 30 text messages a day from people that I went to school with or guys that I coached, saying that they were going to be there to watch the game. They said it'd be kind of weird, like Mo asked earlier, I think, about looking down there and seeing me on the Columbia side and no Coach Clark on the Lawrence County side. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight, man. It's going to be awesome. Like I said, I've got a lot of great memories in that gym, more so from when I didn't play, because when I did play, we were pretty terrible. So try not to relive those days very often. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of people that I haven't seen in a while. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's a Friday night rivalry game. I'm just glad the weather has kind of held off long enough for us to play.
Now, you guys play at Page or host Page tomorrow? You host Page, right?
We host Page tomorrow night.
What are your expectations out of that one, back-to-back nights?
Well, we did the same thing last Friday and Saturday night. We played at Franklin and then hosted Riverdale at home. these back-to-back nights kind of test our mental toughness early in the year, which is good for us. Anytime we can get a mental toughness test early, that's good. Or really anytime during the season. We've got 4 or 5 days off next week. We only play one game on Friday night, so these guys would much rather play than practice anyway. So that's kind of how I trick them into those back-to-back games.
There you go. Nick Campbell, head basketball coach of the Columbia Central Lions. Appreciate you taking some time with us as always. Always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys, what y'all do, and thanks for having me on. Is anybody coming to the game with JP?
Nope, you got to deal with JP only. So
sorry, Nick, you're stuck with me.
Well, it's okay, man.
Help us out and give us some good quotes because the story may or may not depend on that.
I will do my best.
Thank you. All right. See you later. When we come back, we've got Trey Perry, Mountain Juliet football coach, and East head coach from last night at the All-Star game. So stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Let me say something else too about Mo Patton. Mo has done it all. I mean, he's covered the Titans, he's covered the Vols, he's done high school. He's a fantastic writer. He's now actually hosting a talk show every day in Columbia that is outstanding.
It just never felt like at any point in this season or in the last 3 seasons that this team ever got, the pressure never really got to them.
Well,
I think we're getting ready for a revelation here.
Maybe so, because I mean, we just never saw it.
Good. That's good.
It is an expectation now, Malik, that we play for championships, that we compete for championships. And I think that's a good thing. You know, winning it kind of let us know, listen, we can do this. We're not just talking. This is something that we can do, and we will do.
I'm not necessarily against the idea of the SEC versus the field in a national championship game. We'll just play the SEC as it is, and then you guys give us a team and
match us up, and we'll see what happens.
Good luck. I mean,
from preps to pros and everything in between, It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yow.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Glad to have you guys with us here on this Friday edition of the show. And boy, do we have a great second hour for you, starting with this segment here. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk to two of Middle Tennessee's, well, we'll talk to one, we'll hear from another. Two of the best coaches in the mid-state when it comes to high school football. Looking forward to it. Last night, the TACA Coaches Association, Tennessee Athletic Coaches Association.
There we go.
All-Star football game was held on the campus of Austin Peay State University. And to the winner go the spoils and the radio interviews, Mo.
Something like that. I think we were going to talk to Trey anyway, but the fact, Trey might not have talked to us had it not been a 31-3 East win over the West. But yeah, Mount Juliet football coach Trey Perry here with us on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. What time did you stay up last night, or did you come back this morning, Trey, or how did that work for you?
I've got an incredible wife that made the trek to Clarksville and said she'd drive me home. So I came back. I don't know. What do you define as this morning? I got back around.
Gotcha. Great performance last night. I mean, you don't expect to win a all-star game by 4 touchdowns, I don't think. What did you feel like the key? It must have been that defense that you drew up, right?
Well, I'd like to take credit for that, but here's what I'll take credit for. I surrounded myself with some unbelievable coaches and some kids. You know, the night before, if you probably, and I had the TACA staff tell me this, Murphy Fair said this, if you looked at who had offers and maybe measurements and this, that, and the other, you would probably lean a little bit towards the West, you know, being a better team in last night's game going into it. But and I don't know that I wasn't in the same boat, but the night before, I looked at our roster again and I counted how many people had played for or won a state championship on both rosters. And you know, we had a lot of people playing football last week. And I feel like that showed up last night more than once. So it was an honor for me. I think I said this 2 or 3 times after the game last night, but I went into the game thinking, you know, the week even thinking, what can I give to these kids and coaches? And it was, you know, selfishly, it was more about what I got back from them, and something I'm going to take with me for a long time.
It is easier to play football when you played the week before, I have to imagine. You know, taking a couple of weeks off has got to be tough, especially with a lot of them, you know, on the hardwood over the last couple of weeks. That's interesting.
Yeah, and you almost have to take that into account in your practice schedules because, you know, we've had guys there that, you know, they were one of the top 88 in the state, but their team may not have had the year that they had hoped, and they didn't make the playoffs. So what does it mean? 6 weeks ago that last time they put on pads. So, you know, we tried to take that into account too with our preparation, but it certainly didn't hurt. And we had a lot of them that have played the last couple of weeks too.
Trey, one of those guys in particular was one of your safeties last night, Brady Pierce, and we talked a little bit about him after the game. And, you know, we just continue to be baffled at the lack of recruiting attention that Brady is getting. And so it's nice to get someone who hasn't been as exposed to him as we have to maybe bring a little bit less biased evaluation of him. So the floor is yours.
Well, Mo, you know me well enough to know I'm blunt force trauma when it comes to telling the truth. So I said during the week, and I'm not the only one. I mean, Steve Jackson got to see it firsthand, Oakland's defensive coordinator, the week before. I said it during the week. I said it to recruiters. I said I was going to say it to recruiters. I just got done with Vanderbilt, being on our campus looking at a couple of our 23 kids that I don't understand either. You had a funny line last night after the game. All-Star game is meant for rotation. And the good news is we had everybody play, but Brady wasn't coming off the field. We made that decision quick and in a hurry. Got him lined up. He's a cerebral player I've ever coached. I don't mind admitting that, especially after being with him for 3 days, that he picked the defense up faster than I did. And I guess there's another way of putting it. I was on my way home. My son's a freshman football player for us, and he was talking to me about, who was I impressed with, who did I think really shined in the week at the game, and I said, well, I'm going to tell you who you need to go after as far as what your ceiling is. I said, it's number 13 from Summit. And, people that get caught up in the measurements, it's a fatal mistake to be playing against you.
Well, Jim Fabe, the basketball coach at Summit, had a great line, I thought, and that was, a lot of college coaches get caught up in the measurements and say, well, if he's 6'1", 6'2", 220, I can teach him to play football. Why not just take the kid who already knows how to play football? I mean, it doesn't matter how big the kid is. He's clearly good enough to play at some level in college, and I just feel like I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, Nicholls State clearly sees it. I'm glad they do. Mike Jasper sees it. I'd rather him go to Bethel than anywhere else right now.
Yes. I had a kid in 2018 named Michael Rutland. And if there's anybody I'd put in the same category as him. And, I was beating my head against the wall late in the season, senior year. He didn't have what I thought he needed to. Sent whatever I could out, film-wise, and messages and this, that, and the other. And like Brady, he had the grades to back it up. And finally, Princeton bit, and, he's an all-conference safety. And so that's why I continue to be frustrated sometimes. Now, let me say this, too. There are those out there that will listen. And you know what tends to happen with those recruiters? They tend to be the ones winning the championship. I think Lindsey Wilson, I was talking to them about Brady yesterday in the pregame. Their national championship 2020, and then this year, on the doorstep. So when it's kind of funny how the people that look past the measurements are also sometimes the ones that end up at the end of the year with the size and rings.
No question. Some of the other players that obviously that you coached was I can't remember the kid's name. The MVP, the defensive MVP. Crap.
Levi Evans.
Yeah,
Levi Evans. That's it. This all-star stuff, man. When you get those type of athletes on the field, it's just a game changer to watch as a fan, coach. I assume, watching that level of talent has just got to be something special.
Oh, I mean, I was a kid in a candy store. That level of linebacker play, Levi and the two kids from Baylor, Trey McDonald, kid going to Virginia. And let me stop and say this for a second. How awesome is it? And the West has some guys like this too. They know where they're going. They've got a 40-year plan, but they thought enough of their city, their team, their family, to come play this game anyway. And that, to me, when you get like guys like that, you know why they're there, and it's the love of the game. And so yeah, those linebackers were incredible from a communication standpoint. They fit well all week in practice. Another way of looking at things is our offense. Our offense helped our defense last night because they stayed on the field. I don't know what some of those drives were, but it felt like we ran a quarter out once on offense. And I bring that up because a cliche you'll hear coaches say a lot to their own teams during the week is if we can be the best, whatever, offense, defense, special teams that we see this week, including Friday night, then that's going to make Friday night easy. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Our offense went against the best all week long, and I think it paid off last night.
36 minutes of time of possession, including 10 minutes and 57 seconds of the third quarter.
Okay.
So you did. You ran all but a minute and 3 seconds of a quarter.
No, they played 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, even still.
Yeah.
10:57 is incredible.
Definitely impressive. Mount Juliet football coach Trey Perry joining us here on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports today. Trey, in addition to Brady Pierce from Summit, you also had Cooper Cook, offensive lineman from Summit, and Q Martin, athlete from Columbia Central. And I think early on, there was some question about where Q was going to wind up for you. He wound up at corner. I don't think they ever threw at him all night. I think he came up and made a tackle on the far sideline from you. But what did you see out of Q over the course of the week, particularly considering this is a kid who had not played high school football until his senior year?
Well, he probably looked me over when I met him because I told him I was mad at him.
Yeah.
But that had to do with the playoff game. It was easy for me, unfortunately for that night, but with the coaching staff to say, look, this kid's dynamic. I studied 10 games worth of film on him, and he's a no-doubter. And I like the way Q carries himself. He's really no nonsense. Man, a few words, but he this is a lot like Brady, but he picks it up quick. He's in the right place. Here's the thing about corner. If you don't get noticed, it's one of the few positions in football that's a really good thing. That because usually you're either it's hero or zero. You make a play and that's great, but otherwise you're getting posterized. And I like to talk a lot when I'm looking at defensive back play about owning the top shoulder, and he does a really good job of that. My other cliche for DB is guess wrong, guess long, meaning break up on the stuff and don't let the other man start playing. So I feel like he did that all week. Yeah, Mo, he was very unselfish because we were really down in running backs, and we got DeAndre Kelly late, which was a huge, obviously, a huge pickup. He got the MVP, and to get Q back, and so that shortened his week too. And we had Brady back there. We were complex in our coverage.
Coach, so, I hate to do this, but we are up against a break and it's a hard out, so we've got to let you go. We appreciate your time today, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem, guys. Good talk to you. Have a great Christmas.
You too. We'll be right back after this to hear from John Olive. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
This is Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Sports talk like it used to be. You know, like your crazy uncle used to listen to. Only better. Here's Chris and Mo.
Welcome back in. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Earlier this week and released yesterday, I believe, on a podcast, our friends over at Main Street Preps, Tyler Palmatier and Russell Venozzi, they were able to catch up with Tullahoma football coach John Olive, former now, I guess.
He's probably a little easier to catch now. I doesn't have as much to do.
That's right. He announced his retirement earlier last week. So let's listen and see what he had to say, and we'll react to that.
We are joined now by outgoing Tullahoma coach John Olive. His team just beat Elizabethton 21-14 in double overtime last Saturday in the Class 4A Blue Cross Bowl to win its first ever state title. John, congratulations on the big win, and thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it very much, and I'm glad and honored to be a part of your podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks again for being here. And John, right off the top, I've got to ask, so you announced your retirement on Sunday night, one day after that big win on Saturday. Did you know immediately afterwards you were going to retire, or were you planning to do this whether your team won or lost?
I was planning to do it. I had notified my bosses December of 20 that the 21 football season would be my last season. And there were a couple of people that knew about it, but very few there in Tullahoma. There were a lot of people that were speculating, but my bosses knew that this was my last season, and then we told the players Sunday afternoon when we were having right after we had our picture made with the gold ball.
John, we're going to get to this a little bit later about how kind of invested Tullahoma fans are in sports, but I'm in saying that, those fans, they're so interested. How did you keep this a secret? You know, you guys kind of had a hard job keeping a lid on your retirement announcement.
It was very select few people that knew. My principal, Jason Quick, and my superintendent, Katrine Stevens, both, they knew about it. They kept it close to their vest. They didn't share it with other people inside the system. And I'm very appreciative of that because I wanted it to be about the team, the young men. I had this email typed out ready to go 5 weeks ago, not knowing when our last game of the season was going to be. And so, there were family members that knew about it, and there were a couple of close friends that knew about it, but that was it.
What's the key to coaching as long as you did?
I'm very, very fortunate, very blessed. I had a dear coaching friend that coached with me a bunch of years here at Tullahoma that his health eventually got so bad, and that became a reality. I realized that if you lose your health, you probably can't keep coaching any longer. And so I don't know if there's a key to the longevity. I know that young people help keep me young, but eventually things start happening. For instance, this past season, ever since I got COVID, I've always been a plantar fasciitis person, but I've always been able to keep it under control. But I got COVID last January, and I have not been able to get my plantar fasciitis back under control. And so that made standing out there at practice a lot tougher than it had been. And if I had not already told my superiors that I would be hanging it up as far as being a coach, a head football coach, this past season, just, sometimes I'd have to get our trainer to get the knots out of my feet so that I could be able to keep walking, because I'd be a crippled man by the end of practice. So those are the type of things. I don't know if there's any true secret other than I was very blessed with a great community that supported us even through the thin times. And I had an administration that was very supportive, and all those type of things go into giving you longevity.
Well, John, that plantar fasciitis doesn't sound fun, but you were able to power through this season, your 33rd and final season as a head coach, and it ended with a 15-0 record and a state championship. Is that pretty much how you drew up your last season going down?
I thought we would be a good team. I never dreamed that we'd be good enough to win a state championship. It wasn't until when we beat Pearl-Cohn in the quarterfinals and Elizabethton beat Greenville on the same night that I realized, we may be good enough to win this thing.
Elizabethton had the hardest time moving the ball in that championship game. John, what impressed you the most about specifically your defense this season?
Well, our defense was the big surprise because that's where we lost the majority of our players from off last year's quarterfinal team. And we lost a tremendous amount of speed off that defense. And I thought our defense would be probably a little better than average, but not as good as last year's defense, and that we'd have to outscore a lot of people. And it turned out that our defense was just fantastic. And because we were so strong and physical up front, and even though our linebackers are undersized, they're very, very strong young men and have played a lot of football so that they could find the football very quickly. The defense turned out to be one of our strengths. I don't know what we ended up averaging, but I think we ended up averaging giving up around 9 or 10 points a game for the entire 15 games.
And John, it's only been a handful of years since Tullahoma had back-to-back 0-10 seasons in 2015 and 2016. I know you said that was difficult, and you described it as, quote, every molehill becoming a mountain. Did you ever think about calling it quits back then or looking for another job? And since you didn't, what made you want to stick around and kind of see things through there at Tullahoma?
Well, I actually thought I was on a leave after the 14 season, I had enough years with my combined sick days and all that I could retire out in the state of Tennessee. Then we get the 0-10, 15 year. And I was talking with somebody outside our state and thinking about double dipping and all. And I had some friends there in Tullahoma that I trust, and I had confided in them, and they convinced me, that they would really like me to stay. A school board chairman, who's also a good friend, came to see me because he had found out that I was in communication with a school outside the state. And I don't know, one thing just led to another. And I thought, okay, we'll push on through this, because we knew the next year we had good young kids. The 2018 team that was a quarterfinal team, all those kids were freshmen and sophomores. And we knew we had some good young ones coming. The question was, could I survive long enough until those guys could start making a difference? And when I met with our staff to begin the 2017 season, I told them that if we could not get it turned around, that it would be my last season, that the community just, as much as they might like me, they want a winning football team. And fortunately for us, we got it turned around. We only went 5-5 that year, but we were a really good 5-5 team, as we had taken Marshall County and Maplewood both to the wire, to the last series of the game. And so anyway, we didn't go to the playoffs that year, but we knew we had turned the corner, and then we knew we had some really good kids coming that were young, and that we had a chance to be pretty good.
And this year, John, the state title ends up going through your region. I was talking to Tony Brunetti, Pearl Cone coach Tony Brunetti, yesterday at the Mr. Football Awards, and I felt bad talking to him about it, because I think it was kind of hard for him to hear, and then he ends up telling me that he thought whoever got through that quarterfinal, you guys or Pearl, was going to have a good shot at a state title. Did you see it that way? I don't know, before the year, before the playoffs?
Not before the year or anything, but after we played Pearl Cone during the regular season, we felt like that we had a pretty good idea that we'd probably see them again in the quarterfinals. We were hoping not the second round, that it would be the quarterfinals. And anyway, Pearl Cone is a really, really good football team, and with tremendous speed, tremendous size. And he's young. He'll be the team to beat, at least for the next 2 years, probably, in our region. And wasn't sure how good Haywood was until we started collecting video on them, and we realized that they're Pearl Cone. We call them Pearl Cone 2.0. Same type of kids, a lot of speed at the wide receiver in particular, a hard-nosed running back, and then just huge up front on both sides of the ball. And so anyway, I kind of agree with Tony there that I can tell you this, that his team would have had as good a chance of winning a state championship if they had come out of that quarterfinal as we did. And obviously the game Saturday could have gone either way. And we were just fortunate that we made one more play than Elizabeth did when Chris made the interception.
And John, you're staying in your role as athletic director at Tullahoma, and you'll still be working, but obviously you're going to have quite a bit more free time now that your football coaching duties are going to be relinquished. Do you have any plans for how you want to spend that time? And is there anything that you've missed out on these years that you want to do now?
My wife does. My wife's got a lot of plans. She's already said, here's some things that we need done around the house. And so there'll be things. I enjoy working with a ministry called the Hands and Feet Ministry, where we build wheelchair ramps for people so they can stay at their house. And I look forward to having some time to be able to, because once I became AD and football coach, I didn't really have any downtime where I could keep volunteering with that group. And that'll be one of the first things that I do. Is I'll go back to volunteering with the hands and feet people and spend some of that free time trying to build some wheelchair ramps.
John, I've never been to Tullahoma. I'm kind of also new to the area, but what do sports mean to that town? Your school brought the biggest crowd last week, biggest visiting crowd at least, and it wasn't close. Why are Tullahoma fans so passionate?
I think we are a sports town. Obviously, at one time we had a Rollins plant there, we had a Wilson plant there. And then we were the home to Worth. And so until about 20 years ago, there were a lot of athletic things being manufactured in Tullahoma, which led to sponsorship. This is really going back in the day, but back when slow pitch softball was such a huge thing going on in our state, Worth would bring in teams from all over the United States there to softball tournaments and so forth. And then baseball's always been huge, as we've had several baseball state championships and have played for a couple of others. The town itself is very athletic oriented. We play just about every sport that's offered in our state, and normally take a good crowd with us wherever we go, but did not realize the groundswell that was going to happen. I'll be honest with you. Going to the state championship and actually winning state championship was bigger for our community than I ever dreamed it would be. The reception of us coming back, the send-off when we were leaving out on Friday night, it cost a lot of money to stay in that hotel and to feed our kids. And we had individuals and businesses that stepped up and paid our entire bills so that whatever we make off this state championship game will come in and it'll filter into our athletic program so that we're able to meet the needs of whatever we have there at the high school athletically.
Well, John, it's neat that Tullahoma was able to add a state title to just all that history that you spoke of there, sports-wise in the town. And congratulations on capping off your long career there in the best of ways. And good luck on that honey-do list, too, as your schedules freeze up a little bit.
I appreciate it very much, guys. And I appreciate you all giving me an opportunity to talk with you this morning.
You bet, John. Great stuff, man. And congratulations again.
Thank you.
That was enlightening and fun to listen to. John Olive. We will react to that interview on the other side of this break. Also, some other things to get to. A big commitment for the Vols about an hour ago. So stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today returns to the Lee Company studio with reaction to the John Olive interview and more right after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, While we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader-building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
The sports talk show you've always wanted. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. From preps to pros. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back in. Andrew just took his headset off. He's like, I can't handle this. Remember, Andrew, you don't have to be beautiful, but it doesn't hurt.
We're back. It's okay.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
Well, if it makes him feel any better, I wasn't either.
So
stay on your toes, boys. Stay on your toes. Head on the swivel.
Speaking of he wasn't ready and the Kevin Hart style, have you guys seen the Netflix limited series with him and Snipes? It's called True Story.
Mm-mm.
There are 7 episodes. I watched all 7 in 2 days.
My Jody tried to get me to watch that last night to start it.
As opposed to my Jody?
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Do it.
Just well, that's good. She'll it gives her an opportunity to say, well, I told you so.
It's
which, doesn't
she would
take
never
much.
do a thing like that.
No, it doesn't take much to get that. But
I wasn't like, I had saw some of my friends say, yeah, it's, it's good. Watch it. And so I thought, okay, I'll try. And I couldn't turn it off. Like, could not turn it off. Of course, I've caught up on Bull. I've caught up on Chicago PD. I've caught up on the Equalizer. So I've caught up on all my shows.
I thought about you Wednesday night watching Chicago PD.
Oh, I haven't. There's one on Wednesday? I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I looked yesterday and they hadn't dropped yet, I guess. I don't watch it live.
I
have to watch it on demand.
Yeah.
Well, I will have to.
I'll say no more.
Maybe I haven't caught up then on
You've
at least
not.
that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very.
So some enlightening stuff there in that interview from John Olive. I didn't realize that COVID could impact plantar fasciitis. So
well, I mean,
much.
I guess it's a lung related.
Yeah.
And so lungs are blood related.
Blood flow.
So all of a sudden, you got all sorts of potential issues coming out of that.
That's
hashtag get the shot.
I mean, that's just wild to me. I mean, I'm glad that he was able to finish this year and to go out the way that he did. There's
no better way.
No better way for a guy like
That's
John Olive.
Crazy. I mean, and the fact that he knew from the get that he was shutting it down at the end of the year, and for them to come through the way they did, unaware, and as I've talked about what has gone on at Tullahoma over the last few years, and I've referenced that 2015 and 2016 season where they went winless back-to-back years. A little bit more context to that, and he kind of spoke to it in that interview. Prior to those back-to-back 0-10 years, they had back-to-back 5 and 6 years. Coming out of those winless seasons, they were 5-5 in 17. So over a 5-year period, they were 15 and 37. I'm just going to tell you, there's not a whole lot of coaches that can survive that. no matter what they've done to that point.
Not only did he survive, he tried to quit and they wouldn't let him. That's him. That's how
that speaks to who he is.
Exactly. That's how important John Olive is to that community. That just goes to the level of the man, and it doesn't get more impressive than that.
It really doesn't. You know, he finished his career at Tullahoma 203 and 26. And I'm sorry, and 126. Over 29 years. Besides that 5-year stretch, they only had 3 other losing seasons over 29 years. They had 6 years that they won 10 games or more, including 3 of this last 4. Starting with that quarterfinal run back in 2018, they went 7-4 in 2019. Back to the quarterfinals, went 12-1 last year, and then obviously the undefeated campaign this time around. So, I mean, finishing with a flourish, going out on top, all of that stuff. And
that is the unfortunate part of retirement, though. The honeydew list. Clearly.
Well.
Oh, you got some free time now? Let me tell you about all these things over the last 29 years that I have written down.
Actually, it's not free time. Your time is just being reallocated. So
you have some time that's not involving football? Let me tell you what you can do around here.
Some time that you ain't getting paid for? Oh, okay. So you ain't got no excuses now.
No excuses.
Yeah. Man.
That's the unfortunate part. But you know.
I like the hands and feet thing that he's gonna get more involved with, though. That's really cool. And it's different things like that I would imagine just make him so beloved in that community.
Oh, no question. You said you'd forgotten. I didn't know that they had 3 major sports manufacturing companies in Tullahoma.
Yeah.
At one time. That's crazy, especially Worth, back in the day. This is a story. My dad will love me telling this story. There was a youth league, like little league game being played at my home park, and my dad was umpiring. Well, the game ran a little bit long because it's little league kids, like T-ball, so they're hard to wrangle sometimes. Well, the game runs a little bit long, and this guy who has known my dad and my family forever comes over to the fans and says, "Get those kids off the field and let a real man's game start." It was slow pitch softball.
Oh, wow. A real man's game.
Oh, yeah, you know it.
Yeah. Wow.
So, but slow pitch softball, you played that.
Yeah.
That is one of the most competitive things in the world. So, having that type of.
So true story.
Did you play in one of those? Oh, that tooth got knocked out playing slow pitch softball. Look at you.
Yes, sir.
That's rough.
Guy trying to score from second on a shallow fly ball to left center. I'm catching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was out. He was a third of the way down the line from third base, and I had the ball.
And he just
trucked. So he attempted to.
Oh, you trucked him?
Well, he was out. I mean,
don't stand on the track when the train's coming through, or the opposite.
No, but I mean, I've got a cap and I've got stitches here, but he was out. So, so who really won?
You got the out. That's all that matters.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, the competitiveness of that town, just the fact that he was able to survive that 5-year stretch and be able to do what he was able to do, just so awesome.
Yeah.
Such a great dude.
Yeah. Yeah. He deserved to go out the way he did. And it's fantastic to see.
So notice some pretty big news, and this is Alabama, but I mean, in reality, this is going to send some shockwaves through the high school football coaching
across
community.
the Southeast.
No question that the Hoover High School job is now open. The reason being Josh Niblett, who spent 14 years at the helm following rush probes.
That I was just getting ready to say. I can tell you one person who will not be getting that job.
That guy. Interesting though, because Rush and Josh are polar opposite human beings.
Thank goodness.
And that was the point of hiring Josh Niblett. One, he had been really ultra successful as the head coach at Aniana, but
which is a polar opposite from Hoover, I would imagine.
As far as towns, yeah, no doubt. But he spent 14 years there, won 6 state championships. But obviously, in the last few years, Thompson has been the team to beat.
Aren't they about to run out of Tungavailoas though?
I'll just say that they follow the Rush Propst school of getting kids to Alabaster. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
The Tungavailoas didn't just randomly think Alabaster was the best place in the world. Because trust me, Alabaster ain't the best place in the world. So I'm just saying, anyway, it's going to be a big job for somebody. Mm-hmm. I'm curious as to who they may target. I don't think it'll be anybody from Tennessee, but you never know. Although Josh Niblett is available, I said, that just putting 2 and 2 together, the Colquitt County job came open this morning, by the way.
I saw you posted that.
So,
yeah.
But I had a Facebook friend, acquaintance, I don't really know her, who apparently knew more than I did because she was like, I don't think so. And now she has since deleted the tweet or the reply because I said, you got some insight? Hold on now. And so she has since deleted the reply.
Mm-hmm.
And under that, a pretty solid source in high school sports said that he had potentially maybe going to Georgia to start a private school football program, which is kind of odd, but double dip, as John Olive was saying. Olive was talking about how he was thinking about going to a private school in another state.
Is Niblett retiring?
He is retiring from Alabama.
Oh, wow. Okay. There you go.
So he's been in the system for about 20 years. He can retire.
I didn't realize he was that old.
I didn't either. He started coaching in the early 2000s. So had no idea.
Yeah.
He doesn't look that old.
Well, I mean, if you can double dip and you feel like still doing it, why not?
He's only like 45.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's under 50. So heck, if you spend 15, 20 years in Georgia, I mean, retirement too.
Because I mean, if I retire, then I got this honeydew list waiting on me at the house.
There's that apparently.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting because high school coaching, we talked about Baylor is now open. Bearden just hired a coach. The Columbia Central still
the process is still ongoing.
Yes, they haven't hired one. I think they've finally closed, or today was the final day.
You realize we've got 3 openings in the Southern Middle Tennessee sports today area between Columbia Central, Columbia Academy, and Independence.
I tagged your cousin in a tweet about that.
Cousin
Nikki. I was like, hey, just in case you're looking, you're thinking about a coach, I might know a guy. I got his phone number if you need it. That's all I'm saying.
Look at you. Look at you. That's your brush with greatness.
Let me help you out.
We're going to have to go top 5 phone numbers we've got at some point.
We did that. You remember we had that conversation?
That's our last ever episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that on last ever episode. How about that?
That'll be a while.
Well,
hopefully.
The thing is,
the list will grow.
I also have all those same phone numbers now from those guests because I copied them down just in case. You never know.
Thanks to Mo, our list is growing.
It really is. It's like, hey, I worked with Mo Patton. Oh, okay, cool. I will use your name for clout. That's what we do.
Meanwhile, I'm chasing clout.
Clearly,
remember.
Clearly, you are. Yeah. Man, what a fantastic week we've had. Looking forward to next week. The Heisman Trophy will be awarded tomorrow night. And on Tuesday, we'll tell you our top 5 Heisman runner-ups of all time.
Runners-up,
you're right. There's 5 runners-up. This is not talking about Clarksville, Tennessee, by the way. I did find that out. I was unfortunate. I was very sad about that.
Huh.
Yeah, it's Clarksville, Ohio.
What?
Doesn't make any sense.
None.
It's dumb. Anyway, come back next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. We will react to all of the world's college pro whatever that happens over the weekend on Monday. And we'll have a good show. Andrew, appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys.
It's always fun when we get to talk Titans with you, man. For Andrew Moore, Mopat, and JP Plant, I'm Chris Yao saying have a great weekend and stay cool, Columbia. Conversation.